Hey folks, it's Fred from CR Machine, and I want to share a little aspect about these engines, or a defect rather, that almost all of these $100 engines that we get from China have. These engines have numerous defects, as one would imagine that $100 engine would have. The Chinese are masters of cutting costs, and one of the costs in putting an engine together is the hand labor required to assemble. And you know, they're just slapped together. And one of the problems here, well, I have a half-breed engine right here. It's a popular engine to start with because it has a nice balance. And this is the one with the ZAE 50 rod, 38mm stroke. So I want to show you, move this camera here, I want to show you one of the nasty little problems with this engine is this little gear right here. The installation of this gear is, well, like I said, slapped together. And here, I'll rotate it here. Maybe you can see this. See that wobbling around? Look at that. Gets tight, gets loose, it gets tight, it gets loose. Just imagine that happening at 7,000 RPM. I'm going to move this down so we can get a nice side view. Alright, oh yeah, boy, we're going to see that now. Alright, now here we go. I'm going to spin it. See that wobbling around? Look at that. Okay. Look at that. Okay, this is one of the, if you buy an engine from me, for example, you know, some people, oh, you know, they're so expensive. You know, well, yeah, it takes labor. It takes time and attention to detail. You know, like they say, a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. So, here's my impeccably clean workstation. I'm going to take it out of the vise and share with you what I do to this. This is just this defect. There's other defects too. I'm not going to get into all of those, but this is like one of the worst defects. This may, you know, explain some of the reasons why you know, the engines from a reputable builder, why they expensive like that. You know, I can get one from China, or, you know, there's other vendors that just slap things together and they'll advertise their engines as being the most awesome thing ever, and then you know, when you get it and you put it in, you might be a little disappointed. And you know, if you have a gear like this wobbling around at, you know, this high RPM, it's going to make grumbling, growling noises, and you're not going to be too happy with it. So, take the gear puller and just loosen it a little bit. You actually don't have to remove the whole gear. And now I just sight along it, and you just visually find where find the high spot, you rotate it, find the high spot, and you slowly correct it. And then this engine, it's not quite as bad, but it's an issue on this one too. So the alignment of the gear, that's one problem. That has to be rectified if you want a decent engine. And you do. Everybody does. Everyone wants a good engine. And the fact is that you just can't get a good engine for $100. I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. It's not really possible. One of the problems, another problem, is, okay, it's a little hard to see here, but here's the end of the crankshaft here. You know, just around these threads that you see. There's the stub end of the crankshaft. And you'll see that it's more or less flush right there. And on many of these half-breed engines, and there are some other models that have this same problem. When I disassemble the engine, I'll do a little crankshaft work, and I'll face this end of the crankshaft a little bit, so it is not standing proud of the gear. Now, when it stands proud, this one, like I said, not so bad, but others, I've seen them be 1/32 of an inch proud, standing up high, the crankshaft stub higher than the face of the gear, which the screw bears down on. If I can find the screw, here it is. And it kind of has a joke for a star washer. Not that impressive, kind of small, barely even contacting the right place. Sometimes I just eliminate that because I'll use Loctite. So what I do in this case is I make these shims. They're made, you might be able to find like a copper drain plug washer that fits just right. I'm not really sure. I haven't researched it because I just make them on the lathe. And drop that in there. Now, when I put the screw on, it will be bearing down on the gear, and it will jam that gear onto the taper. And that's what it needs. You don't want to rely on the little key to take the torque of the motor. You want this taper. It's a locking taper. You want that taper to really be holding the gear on. Don't rely on the key. And that's the other problem with these engines, is that, one, it's wobbling. Two, this screw doesn't effectively hold the gear on when the crankshaft stub is proud of the face. So when you have the gear properly positioned so there's no run out, you can use your eye. If you have a good eye, you can use your eye. Put a little Loctite on the threads. Impact gun is preferable. Yeah, it's on there. Now we verify again. Yeah, see, it kind of went off a little bit again, so I'm going to back this off. Yeah, shit, I don't have my hammer with me. Oh well, I'll just use this piece of stock. Sight along it. Find that high spot. Ooh, that's better. There's a little bit of grease that kind of confuses your eye. Wow, that's pretty good. Alright, now we'll try it again. Yeah, that's pretty good. The grease whipping around there kind of confuses your eye. But that is good enough. That's pretty good. It doesn't have much run out at all. Now that engine will now be a happier, quieter engine. So that's that one little tidbit. That's done on my engines, and there are other defects too that have to be addressed on some of these engines, and that'll show you, that well, the philosophy that you get what you pay for. There are reasons why people came up with that saying. So that's a little trick I wanted to share with you folks, in case you're dealing with one of these engines yourself. And I would suggest investigating that gear, because on these half-breed engines, I almost never find one that's acceptable. They need reworking, at least here with that. All right, thank you. Bye.